Jefferson County Court, Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number 23 CCCR 1212. Case is style of state of Texas versus Ben Mang Nguyen. Mr. Nguyen, would you please come forward with your attorney? Mr. Nguyen, your full name is Ben Mang Nguyen?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nguyen, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Nguyen, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth,
Yes.
and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Nguyen?
I'm good.
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Nguyen, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Nathan Reynolds. Attorney Reynolds, do you waive a record in Mr. Nguyen's case?
So waived, Judge.
Mr. Nguyen, I have before me a document that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This document is titled Information Sheet. In this information sheet, Mr. Nguyen, it alleges that you've been Ben Nguyen on or about April 30th of 2023, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Mr. Nguyen, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Nguyen, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? You're guilty, okay. Mr. Nguyen, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials, BN, on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document, that's titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen, I also have before me a document that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Mr. Nguyen, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I just showed you, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Nguyen, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objection to State's 1.
No objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Reynolds, you've advised and counseled Mr. Nguyen. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
Mr. Nguyen, your attorney, Mr. Reynolds, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. Nguyen, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial, and I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain
We
agreement?
do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty, the state is offered 180 over 1 year probation, $500 fine, 60 hours community service, court costs, and we're going to waive the interblock requirement.
Somebody checked off in a lot.
It's supposed to say waive. It's not.
It's a box check. No, it's an intervention. Oh, actually,
Oh,
it's not even a requirement. It's a Class B misdemeanor. I don't think this is, this not this not deferred, right?
it's
Okay.
This circle was one of the.
Okay. Who is? Okay. We need to get the bailiff. You could just, who just left out the door, okay. Now, Mr. Nguyen,
Yes, sir.
state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you would not have to serve any time in Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a DPS fine. Oh, let me ask you something else. Mr. Reynolds, are you appointed in this case?
I am not.
Okay.
All right.
Now, Mr. Nguyen, the state is offering that you serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve 180 days in Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for a period of 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a DPS fine of $100, a standard fine of $500. You'll be required to pay court costs of $392. You'll be required to pay probation fee of $60 a month, your analysis fee of $15 a month, a reimbursement fee of $15. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI Education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments, that is a total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $173 a month. Will you be able to pay the $173 each month?
Try.
Okay, that doesn't answer the question. You said you would try. I mean, will you be able to, or will you not be able to?
Yes. I will.
You'll be able to?
Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. Nguyen, you'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service. You'll be required to attend and complete a DWI education class. You'll be required to have an alcohol assessment, and you'll be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. Nguyen, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just? And do you accept the state's offer? Mr. Nguyen, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Mr. Nguyen, are you ready with this paperwork? Mr. Nguyen, just have a seat, and when the court coordinator is ready for you, she's gonna ask you to come back up to complete the paperwork. And once you complete the paperwork, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Reynolds, you're free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Jefferson County Court of Law No. 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number 23CCCR. Got a C missing. Okay, cause number 23CCCR 0364. Case of style of state of Texas versus Jacobian Eugene Morris. Mr. Morris, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Morris, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Morris, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Morris, you may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Morris, how are you doing? That's good. Mr. Morris, you are represented in your case by attorney, Laura Ferrazzo. She was here earlier. Now, I have before me a motion to forfeit the weapon in this case. Mr. Morris, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the line that is titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Before you signed this document, did you read the document?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in this document true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Morris, are you requesting that this weapon be forfeited to the Beaumont Police Department? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the court is granting that motion to forfeit the weapon to the Beaumont Police Department. And Mr. Marsh, state, you have a motion to dismiss in this case?
We do.
And Mr. Morris, the state is dismissing your misdemeanor case for forfeiture of the weapon. And I think you pled in a felony case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Morris, I'm signing this motion to dismiss. You'll be able to get a copy of this motion to dismiss. Once you get a copy of this motion to dismiss, you'll be free to go. Make sure you keep that motion to dismiss with you in case you get stopped. Because, you know, there's a warrant, but because you pled to this case today, that warrant is gonna go away. It just takes it takes a little time to go through the system. But as long as you have that
Yeah,
dismissal,
my boss was worried about it because she was asking
Okay.
me about it.
yeah, no, but you need to keep that with you,
All right.
okay?
Yes, sir.
It should be out of the system sometime today. All right? Please have a seat. And once the court coordinator is ready for you, she can actually come up to the window, get your dismissal. Once you get your dismissal, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
All right, thank you. Yes, sir.
Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. In cause number M329224, case style of state of Texas versus Human Dye. Mr. Dye, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Dye, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Mr. Dye, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Dye? I'm doing fine, thanks for asking, Mr. Dye. You represented your case by your attorney, Attorney Brian Gertz. Attorney Gertz, how are you doing?
I'm good, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Gertz, do you waive a record in Mr. Dye's case?
We will, Judge.
Mr. Dye, I have before me an information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Human Dye, on or about November 22nd of 2020, while you were operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated. Now, state, are you abandoning the enhancement paragraph?
We are.
Mr. Dye, the state is abandoning the enhancement paragraph in this case. And what that basically means is that they will only be proceeding on a Class B misdemeanor offense instead of a Class A misdemeanor. It's a lesser included offense. Do you understand that? Okay, I need to write this in here. I was just writing in that the state is abandoning the enhancement paragraph. Now, to the Class B misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Mr. Dye, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On the next page of the same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
And on the next document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are 2 boxes checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement? I also have a document before me that is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dye, before you signed and initialed these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything that your attorney went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? Mr. Dye, are you a citizen of the United States?
I am, sir.
You are. State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes, sir.
Any
have no
objections?
objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted into evidence. Mr. Dye, your attorney, Mr. Gertz, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gertz, you advised and counseled Mr. Dye. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Judge.
Mr. Dye, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, we do.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for the defendant's plea of guilty or no contest is for $500 fine, 60 hours community service, court calls, interlock, and DWI education.
What is the court cost in this case? 92. Mr. Dodd, the state is offering that you serve 1 year deferred adjudicated probation. During the deferred probationary period, you'll be required to pay a DPS fine of $100, a standard fine of $500. You'll be required to pay court costs of $392, a probation fee of $60 a month, your analysis fee of $15 a month, a reimbursement fee of $15. You will also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of late. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you will be required to pay each month while you are on probation, is $173 a month. Will you be able to pay the $173 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to install an interlock. Well, you'll also be required to perform 60 hours of community service, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, attend and complete a DWI education class, have a drug and alcohol assessment, and adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of DWI probation. Mr. Dodd, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you have a commercial driver's license?
I do not.
Okay. Mr. Dodd, the court is going to follow the plea bargaining recommendation that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Dodd, if you successfully complete this probationary period, this case will be dismissed. It will not result in a conviction on your record, and you may qualify for non-disclosure. You can talk to your attorney about the non-disclosure because he's quite competent in those matters. Mr. Dodd, just have a seat. Are you ready for it? Just stand in front of the court coordinator, follow her directions and the ballot in the bailiff's direction. Once you finish following their direction, you're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
And Mr. Gertz, you're free to go as well. Well, you have one more time. Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, dang.
What you doing?
Jefferson County Court at Law number 2. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. And cause number 23CCCR 0474, case of Style of State of Texas versus Brandon M. Kirkpatrick. Mr. Kirkpatrick was scheduled to be in court this morning at 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m., the court's being to call the name of Brandon Kirkpatrick at the courthouse door. Brandon Kirkpatrick did not answer. Brandon Kirkpatrick has not appeared in court since the court has been in session. His attorney, Mr. Ryan Gertz, is here in court. Ms. Bailiff, the time now is 12:23 p.m. on today's date of April 1st of 2024. Would you please call the name of Brandon Kirkpatrick at the courthouse door? Okay, Brandon Kirkpatrick's name was just called again at the courthouse door. Brandon Kirkpatrick did not answer. Reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Kirkpatrick an opportunity to appear in the court. He has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Second, Mr. Bonner.
That motion will be granted. Brandon Kirkpatrick bond will be forfeited, and a warrant shall be issued for his arrest in clause number 23CCCR 0474. Next two cases are clause number 23CCCR 1306 and clause number 23CCCR 2024. Both cases are Style of State of Texas versus Brett Lawrence Folsom. Brett Folsom was scheduled to be in court this morning at 9 a.m. For the announcement docket on these two cases. Brandon Folsom's name was called at the courthouse door at or about 9 a.m. by the court's bailiff. Brett Folsom name was called at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff at 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m. Brett Folsom did not answer. Brett Folsom has not appeared in court since the court has been in session. The time now is 12:24 p.m. on today's date of April 1st of 2024. Ms. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Brett Folsom at the courthouse door? Brett Folsom's name was just called again at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Brett Folsom did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Folsom an opportunity to appear in court on these cases. He has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Thank you, Mr. Bonner.
Those motions will be granted. Brett Folsom's bond will be forfeited, and a warrant shall be issued for his arrest. And cause numbers 23CCCR 1306 and cause number 23CCR 2024. And this will conclude the calling of the court's announcement docket, the court's pretrial conference docket, and the court's trial docket in County Court at Law number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, on today's date, April 1st of 2024. Judge Terrence L. Holmes presiding. Prosecutor, you're excused. Everyone, please have a blessed day.
You.